There is something very special about this wacky fruit, and I spent 2 years looking for it in Canada. But once I realized that I wasn't gonna find it here, I took a plane all the way to the United States because I heard that there was one store that sold them in Oregon. And you won't believe it, but after 730 days searching, I finally found it, and it was in that moment I was finally able to do that something special. Grow the fruit that comes straight out of the hometown of a Simpsons episode. Well, this is a kiwano melon, and it's peculiar. It also goes by the names jelly melon, blowfish fruit, or horned melon. It's got a bright orange skin covered in spikes, and in the weirdest way, it tastes like a hybrid of a cucumber, a kiwi, a lychee, and maybe a bit of a papaya and a banana. It's really hard to describe, but it tastes really good. You just gotta like gooey stuff. It derives from central and southern regions of Africa, but it also grows in California, New Zealand, Australia, and Oregon, where I got it. And if you know me, then you know that I needed to have endless amounts of kiwano melons growing in my backyard. I cut open the fruit to reveal the bright, slimy green flesh, removed the inner gelatinous layers upon layers of seeds. It was so slimy and it was so fun to get the seeds out. But I got them in orderly fashion on a damp piece of paper towel and started to try to germinate them. And then the hardest part came. I waited for those little things to sprout. And as I waited, of course, I bought some other fruits like a rose apple and a blood orange and a pink pineapple and a finger lime. The theme was basically pink that day, and I was all about it. I cut it all up and I ate it all up, and after I finished my pink party, finally, a few weeks passed, and I had went to check on my germinating kiwano melon seeds to find that they indeed sprouted, and they already had little green heads, and it looked to me like they were ready to be planted in soil. First, of course, I had to admire the seeds, and once I was done examining them, I decided to leave them in the paper towel for a few more days, which was probably a mistake because once those few days passed, this is what they started to look like. So I knew in that moment I definitely had to plant them in soil because if I didn't, they were gonna die. So you know exactly what I did next. I got some soil ready and my sprouted seed children ready, and just so you know, these things are actually a very good source of vitamin C and E, and it has a compound that's actually also found in carrots and pink pineapples called beta-carotene. It's been used in traditional medicine to treat a variety of ailments, most notably respiratory issues and kidney problems, but anywho, I made sure not to lose any of those sprouts along the way, and of course, I planted them right in some soil. I knew I would need a big place, preferably in the ground, if I wanted these things to actually grow fruit, so I did the deed, and the hardest part came yet again, watering and waiting some more for these things to get bigger and bigger. But I knew that as I waited, I needed to go get another one and open it up to look at that crazy green Simpsons-based Oregon flesh one more time. And when I was at the store, I actually saw some other fruits that I had never seen before. One being this fruit that may look like some sort of pear, but it's actually, in fact, a pink guava with pink flesh. I guess I wanted to stay in the theme of pink, so I took a knife, cut the fruit I'd never seen before in half. I really tried not to cut through all of those seeds. It was actually very difficult to break through this fruit with all those seeds, but I finally revealed the pink, juicy, unique flesh that was very new to me. We don't have fruits like this in Canada, so of course I was like jumping for joy, but it was in that moment that I wondered how I would exactly even eat it because there were so many seeds inside. So if I took a bite, there would just be seeds everywhere. It kind of reminded me of a pink cactus pear, but I stayed true to the process and hoped that it would taste just as good as it looked, and it indeed did. And then I realized that I had to grow these into a plant, of course, because if I didn't, then that would be a disservice to me and all of the rest of us because we have to see how a guava grows. So I picked out the seeds with my bare hands. No, I'm kidding. I used my handy dandy little plant tweezers, placed them individually in some soil. I got a little bit lazy and left the fruit on some of them. And soon, a few weeks passed and the plant started to look a little something like this. And as that grew, I got into the process of finding fun, cool fruits that you can't find in Canada, and I found this interesting melon. It's called a zebra melon. and it's very cool. So I was excited to taste it, and when I did, it was kind of like a cucumber mixed with a melon. It was actually pretty refreshing, and the seeds, to my surprise, were really small. So I picked the seeds out, got them in orderly fashion on a damp piece of paper towel, and the waiting game yet again begun for our little zebra melon children. And after just 7 days, our little seedlings looked like this. They successfully germinated. I felt like the queen of the world. So I got some of those in soil and I waited for my plant to grow. And soon, our plant started to look a little something like this. And once winter came, I had to bring it inside to live inside of my grow box. And all of them died after like 7 months, with the exception of this one little lucky sprout. So I really was trying to keep it safe. And now, as it lives in my grow box, a little update on the kiwano melon that I planted is that unfortunately I don't live in the United States, so I had to leave the plant growing on its own at my friend's house, and currently it's apparently thriving, but I have yet to know since I can't be its mom there in the States. But y'all, 2 kiwano melons, a pink guava, and a zebra melon later, and a bunch of other cool fruits, I was really happy that I got the chance to not only taste these insanely cool fruits, but get a shot at growing them too and see how they germinate. So the only next thing that I gotta do is call up the creators of The Simpsons and tell them that I found the fruit that probably got discovered from one of their episodes.